It's Texas, you don't have to tell us.
Hello, and welcome to the show, the show to end all shows. Do you know what a whore is? Because that's what the West wants us all to be. Today on the show, Comrade Detective. I am one of your hosts. I am Jay. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JSuesponte. We also got on the line today Aaron.
Hey, and you can get me on Twitter at Tenacious Aaron.
We got Adam.
Hey, it's Adam. I have no Twitter.
You can find him at Adam Dong. And we got Tony.
Hello. Find me pretty much just on Instagram at tpinquite.
You can also find the show at the Show Pod. And if you want to email us, you can email us at the showtvpodcast at gmail.com. Well, we have gathered here today to watch the 2017 Amazon original series Comrade Detective. And I'm going to throw it over to Aaron to tell us about what it is we just watched.
So this was my pick. I added this onto the wheel of randomonium. And I personally was pleasantly surprised by it. So I was very happy with the production. But kind of giving an overall synopsis and plot, Channing Tatum and Ron Johnson present a show as if it was an actual, real, influential Romanian television show from the 1980s. It's supposedly produced by the Romanian communist government and was served as a device to promote communism, communist worldviews as opposed to Western capitalist and imperialist views during the Cold War. It had apparently been lost over the years, but producers had recently found a surviving copy of the only episodes, and with help of a fictional Romanian Film Preservation Society, they have restored these episodes and dubbed them in English with, of course, Channing Tatum, I'm pretty sure, playing the main character. The show within this is, essentially a whodunit kind of murder police, drama set in the 80s, like a buddy cop.
I'd say it's a satirical crime drama.
Yeah, and it follows the Bucharest police detective Gregor Angel, and his partner, who they respond to a drug bust against their captain's orders. A man wearing a Ronald Reagan mask ends up killing Gregor's partner in front of him, and Angel, along with his new partner Joseph Baciu, who is a friend of his ex-partner who had died, who was killed by the Ronald Reagan wearing guy, have to pair up to solve the murder. In doing so, they kind of they uncover an insidious plot to indoctrinate, or for the capitalists to indoctrinate Romanian society with capitalism and religion, specifically Christianity. So that's kind of like the overarching plot. As the story unfolds, this is a spoiler alert. We find out that the partner who was killed at the beginning was behind it all, and he, was the driving force, and in fact was the one who was trying to bring capitalism and religion and Western society to the Eastern Bloc. So is that a good enough synopsis, gents, for us to jump off?
That was a great synopsis.
Indeed.
Well, good.
I want to start off by saying I really, really loved the voice cast and the voice acting in this show.
Yeah.
Because everybody's in it.
Everybody's
Got a bunch
in
of
it.
all-stars in there.
Yeah, I mean, we got Channing Tatum, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Those are two leads. Nick Offerman as the police captain was particularly good.
Yeah.
We got Jenny Slate, Jason Mantzoukas, Jake Johnson. We got guest appearances by Daniel Craig, Fred Armisen, a bunch of others. It was just a lot of fun because the way the show was put together was that they wrote the script in English, then translated that English script into Romanian, went over to Romania, filmed it there with local actors in Romanian, and then dubbed it back into English with this all-star dubbing cast. So it was just a lot of fun to hear those voices coming out of the Romanian actors.
It was good, and it was also funny because there were times where you could see what they were saying was in fact what the dub was. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it actually did line up that they were saying something maybe that didn't translate into Romanian very well.
Like Jordaki.
Yeah, Jordaki.
Well, I liked it too. Like you could obviously tell, like the characters probably like they were speaking English. So in the Romanian version, they were probably speaking English, but then it's dubbed English, not lining up perfectly with their words. That might be what you were saying too.
Yeah.
I'll get my embarrassing bit off the beginning, as I didn't take the time to learn that it was like fake. So I was pretty gullible and thought it really was like a found thing. I was like, holy crap, this quality is amazing. I think it made me like the show even more. Then after I watched it, I read it and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Why it's so high quality.
It's like HBO quality in the 90s in Romania. How the shit did they do this?
This film restoration, these masters, was done so well.
It's funny that you say that because when I watch a show, I usually like to go on IMDb and read the trivia and sometimes the goofs. And for this show, there was only one goof, and it was some idiot on the internet basically saying that's this show is obviously made in modern times. The quality is way too good for 1980s Romania. And it's like, yeah, man, that's the joke. Like, come on.
Has everyone? This is one thing I wish they would have done, and maybe it would have made it a few more episodes longer, and maybe that's why they didn't do it. But I wish that they had had more interviews with Channing Tatum, like in the Romanian society as the show progressed. Like, if you've ever watched Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, how they'll do like 5 minutes of the show and then cut to Garth Marenghi talking about that sequence. Like, it would have been great if they had, like, Channing Tatum interviewing, like, the original director or writer of the show or something like that spliced in throughout the show. Like, I felt like there wasn't enough of those little sequences with him and, what was the guy's name? John Ronson. That I felt like there could have been a little bit more of those sequences. Because they were only on, like, every other episode, right?
Yeah, I think they only did it twice. It was like episode 1 and episode 3. I was really expecting them to come back at least for the last episode, but they didn't. But yeah, I agree. I would have enjoyed more of that.
Also, whenever he was like saying, "Yeah, why didn't you just do it in Romanian and dub it or sub it?" And he's like, "Well, because I was told that people don't read. Sorry to break that to you. They just don't read anymore."
I love that.
As someone who watched subbed anime,
like, I've written books.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, my sub reading is on point.
The genesis for this was that Channing Tatum was like, I want to produce a show. I want everyone to bring me the worst ideas for a show they've ever heard. Out of this idea that, out of bad ideas, sometimes you can synthesize the good parts of it into something good. And so they kind of came up with the idea of reversing all of the anti-communist propaganda from the 80s that we saw in the US. And originally what they wanted to do was go find actual Eastern Bloc cop films that did that and dub them into English. But once they figured out that arranging for the rights to do that was going to be much more costly and complicated, they just decided to make a whole new show. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they did. Yeah,
me too. I thoroughly enjoyed this. The story was good. It was fun. It was entertaining. The Romanian actors were phenomenal. The dubbing was phenomenal. Like, the whole experience. And can I just say this? Like, it's funny because you don't think about it now, but like the AIDS epidemic in the 80s is a big thing for America. And like whenever like the acting ambassador to Romania is like, I miss my home, even if everyone has AIDS for some reason. Like, I just started laughing.
I loved all the poking fun at America. Like, just like the first episode, they walk in the embassy and there's 2 fat dudes eating like stacks of Big Macs.
Stacks of cheeseburgers.
Yes. I loved the use of music in this show with that New Shoes song. I can't wait. The dun 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 dun, dun with like the villain and the Reagan mask just dancing to it after he kills the guy in the apartment.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a Reagan mask, like, and that's supposed to be sinister and all that stuff.
I loved when they pulled out the Monopoly board and they're like, this is what they use to indoctrinate their children.
They're like, what the fuck is this?
Wait, you mean that you don't win until you make everyone else impoverished?
That and I love how like the Monopoly board and then the books, like the Bibles, they're like, you know what, it's like the dealers, they start getting high on their own supply.
Dude, and whenever the pornographer guy that they go visit that can distribute stuff, like whenever they show him the Pepsi and he's like, can I have a sip? Like it's
Then he drinks
cocaine
out
or
of the
some shit.
can.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about, like, because I know it's like satirical propaganda, but there was propaganda, like anti-U.S. propaganda, obviously, just like we have propaganda. And so it's interesting to see like the American view of it, but it also in the same right, like whenever they're like portraying like the Christians as like weirdos, like America portrayed the atheists as just like evil during that time period, right? So the mirrors were really, really fun to see kind of exploited and shown back to us.
And some of it was a little uneven, like when the new partner Joseph, when he brings his family in, they keep making jokes about how they don't have electricity out where he used to live because he transferred from a village into the city, and it in some ways it almost felt like they were poking fun at how underdeveloped Romania was. But it also really made me laugh every time they kept referencing how good the healthcare was in Romania as opposed to America.
Yeah.
As like that was like a bragging point.
Well, they were like, this person is just exercising their was it universal right to religion? It's like believing in a God isn't a universal right, but healthcare is.
That made me laugh. That was a high point for me.
I just like, I don't know. It was funny just how like everything from the Western world was like, like a drug basically. Like those people, they're passing out like boxes of jeans in the streets and
yes,
fun of the women because the women are like going like mental and stuff, and he just starts slapping them.
Yeah, no. Well, also the misogyny, the like built-in misogyny, like that's still okay, is what I think is funny. Like whenever like he takes the.
Like,
so good.
Oh no, I just that, but then also like Joseph's wife's like, don't we believe in equality of the genders? Like you can talk to me like a man, but then the rest of the show is just like them, basically being misogynistic towards women.
I don't sleep with sweaty Eastern European men on the first date. You want to bet?
You're gonna be trouble.
That got me.
That got me too. I laughed. I laughed out loud.
Well, I wonder how accurate that the portrayal of the misogyny really was. Like, obviously, this show was not going for accuracy, but another show that we watched recently involving the Eastern Bloc in the '80s was HBO's Chernobyl, and there we saw, that show was actually kind of the polar opposite, where they were trying to do almost everything they could to make it realistic, and there. One of our most prominent scientific characters was a woman. And apparently that was actually quite representative of the time, that in Soviet Union academia, there was a much better balancing of the genders than there was in the West.
But wasn't that woman character also a fabrication of the show to represent all the scientific characters involved?
Right. She was a combination of many different scientists who contributed, but plenty of those scientists to create that combination were women. So, I guess what I'm wondering is, of course, maybe there was better representation, but was there still ingrained misogyny within the society?
I definitely think that there was, because like there's a story from, this is World War One, but like in World War One, like the women who were used in the military, they didn't have like uniforms made specifically for women, so they had to take men's uniforms and basically kind of modify them to fit them. So I think that there was still very a male dominated or masculine centric mentality, and it was kind of like philosophically, yes, the communist regime agrees to this, but in application doesn't always come out that way.
Mhm.
Right? Like, think about all the leaders of the Communist Party. Can you think of any women?
No, absolutely not.
So I think that there still is at least like, it's kind of like lip service. Like, I bet you're right. Academia, like, that one definitely probably much more palatable, but actual power structure, I don't remember seeing any women in power structure at all.
Mhm.
Like, at least we have women like in the West, Margaret Thatcher, shit like that.
Sure.
At some point.
How about the style in this show? I really enjoyed like the old style clothes they were all wearing, and even when they portrayed the American style of dress too.
They put a lot
Yeah,
into it.
I was envious of all the sweet leather jackets that were on this show.
You like that red one? In the interrogation room?
Yeah, the Michael. What does this glove do? Why is there only one?
I love
like
when they were sneaking the
Angel.
American embassy in the cowboy outfits.
That one was hard to reconcile when I still thought it was like an actual thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And this is really taking a turn into the like ridiculous.
I think that police chief that was voiced by what's his name?
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. The character, the voice was great. Love Nick Offerman. Fantastic job. The character, however, was probably the dumbest character in the show.
Yes.
Like, wow, that's a police chief. Okay.
Obviously, you murdered this woman.
Right?
Well, coming down to the end when they discovered that there was obviously a mole within the police force, I was full on expecting it to be the captain.
Same.
Oh, me too.
I got to give them props there, because when it was coming up to that, I was thinking, man, this is some terrible writing that they've like communicated their twist so obviously, and then turns out I was wrong. So props to you guys, writers.
I feel like the chief was like literally like a false flag. Like you were intended to be led to that conclusion because he just so quickly accepted it. I thought about this. I was like if you know that the system is kind of corrupt and people like set each other up in your society, how much are you gonna like, if you know that's happening, how much are you going to actually look into it? Because doesn't that also increase your chance of getting set up? You know what I mean? Like, let the courts figure it out. I'm just going to arrest you. Here's the evidence.
Well, it's impossible for a Romanian police officer to be corrupt, so I don't know why they would even
Well, he believes
expect
some of
that.
his own propaganda, I guess.
I thought,
I love when they're on the run and they're like, oh, God damn, our police force has to be so efficient.
We're the best. I was like, I can't believe they like. I loved all the explosions and fire in this show, but just like the prison bus crashes, goes up in flames, and they don't even try to like drag anybody out. They just like take off. Like all those people are burning alive. Those poor guys trying to get those cabbages for the children, they're gonna die.
The show gets pretty dark at points, but I think it does a good job of keeping its like jovial tune throughout.
Yeah, it makes me want to like learn more about what things were really like behind the Iron Curtain stuff. Like, was like the informing on everybody, like even your family, that like pervasive in society? Like, just like there's a file on everybody, and like I'm willfully ignorant on current events and like political things, but it makes me want to learn about it more.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's definitely a part of like, I don't know. It's hard to be able to separate the propaganda from what really happened. Mm-hmm. Like, you almost have to have just like firsthand accounts of people who lived there, and then like extrapolate based off of all the shit that you can probably dig up out of the archives. But I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of those countries tried to purge a lot of that whenever they kind of left the Eastern Bloc behind. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there was definitely kind of didn't they tear down a bunch of statues and stuff whenever Russia fell, whenever the USSR fell?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I can't remember if it's in Romania or if it might be in Hungary. But there's one of those countries where they just have this monument park outside the city where they took out all of the statues of Lenin and Stalin and put them out there. And you can still go see them, and you kind of have some context for, this is what used to be in the city. I think I know that in East Germany in particular, like it really was as it's portrayed, where there were secret police everywhere keeping tabs on everyone. They kept meticulous files, and they were the one of the only ones who unsuccessfully purged. So I imagine there was a variety from country to country with how pervasive that was, but in some places that was 100% the case.
So one of my favorite philosophers is Slavoj Žižek, and he's from Slovenia, and he lived during, I guess, the Iron Curtain. But he said that like in Slovenia or Yugoslavia, the curtain was not closed all the way. So like he was able to go to the West and go to London and see malls and stuff like that, and he was like, whenever everything kind of collapsed, for those of us in academia who like traveled, it wasn't all that of a shock. Like we weren't like running to the nearest supermarket and crying over like sliced bread. But it's interesting to think about like the different reactions that people had to, I guess, such a radical change in their life.
Like when we saw Nikita and Yosef go over to New York City for the wrestling competition.
Yeah.
And they leave the
that
hotel.
Is contagious.
And they immediately see a cop just gun a man down in the street and just go, "Welcome to New York."
Just walk
New
off
York
slowly
City.
with his gun still drawn.
I was going to mention that scene, that little, I guess it was like the precursor before the title drops on one of the episodes. Yeah, that was quite enjoyable when they make it to New York.
I think that was the first foreshadowing of Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did y'all see? Did anyone see it, Nikki coming like at all?
Not at all.
I did.
Like looking back, hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense because he went to New York and he must have been like astounded by the culture. But I did not see him coming at all. I thought it was obviously the police chief. I was kind of blindsided.
Because I'm very immature, I also appreciated that the way that the dirty cop kept getting his partner out of the way was he kept just giving him diarrhea.
Yes.
So his partner just kept having to be like, "Oh, I gotta take a shit."
That's the guy who plays Adrian Pimento in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or Derek in Good Place.
Yeah, that's Rafi from The League. That's
Jason from The League. Yeah.
What's his name? Jason Mantzoukas.
That I never remember his name, but I love that actor. He's so funny.
Yes. He's pretty good.
Well, any negative comments? I feel like there's been pretty positive response all around. Any criticism? Any complaints?
Well,
I can't think of any that are just glaring.
It was it's all based on really one joke, which is the whole reversal of the propaganda thing. And it's funny and it made me laugh, but there were points where I was like, maybe this should have just been a B movie rather than a whole series. Like, was there really enough here to stretch that out for 6 episodes?
Yeah, the religion stuff, that one felt like they had to do a lot of development to tell that part of the story. It just took forever.
And we kind of touched on it before, but I think it could have been an extra joke if they had also included like shoddy production in it, to be like, oh, haha, it's the 80s in Romania and production wasn't that good, to maybe like heighten the realism of trying to sell us on that it was real footage rather than fake. Like, I think that was a missed opportunity, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Maybe just like there's a boom mic or something in this scene that's not supposed to be there or something like that.
I can dig it.
I like what Aaron was said. Yeah, I would have liked more. Yeah, they could have done more. Those intros with Channing Tatum and the other guy were good parts. I agree with what he said about they could have gone further with the Romanian production crew or the directors and stuff. I think that would have been an improvement.
I'm a big fan of meta jokes like this, that kind of stuff is fantastic to me. It's the reason why I love Garth Marenghi so much is that's essentially a similar thing. It's like this guy filmed something in the 80s, and because there's no more entertainment in 2000s, they've asked him to pull it out of his closet and dust it off and show it. And so I love that kind of stuff, that kind of humor. And when it started off, I was like, oh sweet, this is gonna be great. And it was really good. I just was like, man, I really wanted more of those little intros. They could have done it with every episode at least, and that would have been fantastic. I wonder if they did and they just cut it.
It's possible. It's also possible that Channing Tatum's bill was a little high. They were like, we're gonna.
He's the main voice actor,
right?
Surely he would do it for he produced it too, right?
He produced it.
So yeah, he created the show. This is his show.
I didn't know that. Okay.
He's at the top of the hour, my friend.
Something else I can't believe we haven't talked about.
He zones out when Jay starts talking. He's like, Jay's talking, forget about it.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
No.
But who else enjoyed the Are You Ready for the Sex Girls soundtrack?
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, to be fair, I watched most of it Friday and Saturday, so I didn't quite. You sent that joke early on in our group chat, and I was like, all right, this is going to be funny later. But I did enjoy it when it came up.
Is that the song that Yosef catches his daughter listening to on the radio?
Yeah, and it's also there's a rave club thing later on.
Yeah. It comes back later, and both times I was like, this can't be a real song. This has to be part of the propaganda. But I was wrong again. That was an actual song from the 80s.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's from somebody called Glistening Spires, and it's one of the members used to be in Dio.
Okay. Really?
Dio in Holy Diver?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or maybe Devo with the hats. I can't remember.
That sounds more realistic.
Yeah, I think it was Devo. But yeah, you can find the song on YouTube. One of the I don't like to talk a lot of positive things about Amazon, but one of the nice things about their shows is they have that X-ray feature where you can in real time see who are the actors in the scene, what's the song that's playing, and for a minutia nerd like me, that's really helpful.
Yeah, I was using that all the time. I recognize his voice. Who is this? And I'd pop it up on X-ray. I'm like, Daniel Craig.
Yeah. I like using my Xbox for that reason. It's easy to access it. Well, I guess, are we ready to give our rating?
Yeah, let's do it. We here on the show, we give a rating on a scale of 1 to 10 on these shows. And I'd like to steal a bit from another one of my favorite podcasts, which is Friendly Fire, the hit war movie podcast, which because of the Bean Dad controversy is no longer being made. So since that podcast has died, I've decided to steal one of their bits, which is when they rate a show or when they rate a movie, they don't do stars or thumbs or anything. They pick a custom rating system using an object from the film, with the idea theoretically being that they don't compare the ratings between shows. So here I would like to rate and review Comrade Detective on a scale of 1 to 10 Reagan masks.
All right, I'm on board.
So to give an example, I'll go first. I'll lead by example here. Comrade Detective, as we've been talking about, it made me laugh a lot. I looked forward to watching each episode. So this is a classic dilemma for me, because do I rate this on how quality of a show it was, how good was it, or do I rate it on how much did I enjoy it? And I think I'll kind of push out and come somewhere in the middle, because did I enjoy this? Yes, quite a lot. Would I recommend it to anyone? Probably not. Um, you know, I think if you're into history or into ideology jokes, yes, but for a general consumer, maybe not. So this is going to be a 6 Reagan mask show for me. How about you, Adam?
Kind of following your line of thought, and I also struggled with this with Fargo. If you remember, I rated Fargo kind of highly because I thought it was a well-made show, but it wasn't really my shtick. I'm kind of having that same dilemma with this one. It combines two of the genres that I don't really like, which is crime drama and like extreme slapstick. And there were some funny parts. Don't get me wrong. I did laugh at some parts. And I thought the acting was fantastic. Specifically the guy who drinks the Pepsi can. I can't remember his name right now. But I thought his acting was superb, like the Romanian actor. Just very crazy porn star guy. But it does come back to that dilemma for me where it's like I think this is a well-made show. It was well-produced. It was well-directed, but it's not really my thing. So I may have to split the hairs as well. I'm gonna give it a 7. If you like shows like Garth Marenghi, The Dark Place, or I'm having trouble thinking of other ones right now, but or good crime dramas, I think you'll really enjoy this show. It's not really my thing though. Aaron, what about you?
Well, I loved it. I adored it. I love satire, like as an art form itself. So like the laugh, there's the laugh that like elicits the belly laugh, and then there's also like the laugh where you're like, that's a smart joke, that's a fun one, that's entertaining. And to me, a lot of this was, like Jay said, a lot of ideological jokes, a lot of deconstructing of propaganda. Like this is not, you know, uh, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Great show, but it's more kind of just a little bit dumbed down humor, right? It's not Trailer Park Boys, a little bit dumbed down humor. This is a little bit more kind of like, that's a funny joke. Oh, see, I see what they're doing there. They're flipping that around and making a comment on this. And so for that, and I feel like that's what the show's trying to do. I feel like they executed that perfectly, and I'm going to give it a 9 because I loved what they did. I love how they executed it. I feel like they did some great deconstruction of propaganda. I would suggest it to people, but I'd suggest it with an explanation. Like I'd be like, hey, kind of in the same way that I love Tucker and Dale versus the Evil, which is a deconstructionist horror film. Like I love stuff that breaks down and reverses things. And so for me, this was a fantastic execution of it. And plus the soundtrack was phenomenal, as everyone keeps raving about. So that would be how I viewed the show.
Wow, high marks from Aaron with 9 Reagan masks. All right. And to finish up, we got Tony.
Hey, I think I'm more on Aaron's end of the spectrum, I think, on my rating. Yeah, just really, for what it was, I guess just like as an individual thing, I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job. As was mentioned earlier, the casting of their main actress was really great. I feel like just like the production, the sets, all the props and stuff was really well done and stuff. And yeah, I liked the humor and the jokes. I loved seeing America get poked fun of from another perspective. So my initial gut reaction was an 8. I was going to drop it down to 7.5. I think after Year and Adams ratings, I think I will drop it to a 7.5 just to make it more in line if it's going to go in the spreadsheet. So say 7.5 if we're going to the spreadsheet, and 8 if it's going to be an individual 8 Reagan masks, but out of 10, 7.5 for me.
So you're saying you're cutting a Reagan mask in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip it in half.
Are we talking like top half, bottom half, left half, right half?
Like hot dog, not hamburger. As we're like
Just
ripping
getting
it
a
like
little
hot dog.
sociopathic, right, Jay?
Gotcha.
It's like the left side of the face.
So with that, we have an average score of 7.375 Reagan masks, which, if you'll give me a moment, even though this cuts against exactly what I just said, I am going to tell you where that ranks in an all-time ranking. This show. Looks like it's going to be about like top quarter. Looks like it's going to be just above Jean-Claude Van Johnson, just below the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
I think it's a fair placement. Like honestly, Jean-Claude Van Johnson, like same kind of satire, right?
Yeah, pretty similar. Like I had pretty similar feelings about it, like not really expecting much out of it, but being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. God, the gritty Huckleberry Finn movie. That'll be one of my favorite jokes of all time.
I'm not going to call him that. What, Jim?
Inward Jim.
All right. Well, shall we get out? Aaron, what did you call it earlier? The wheel of randomation. What was it?
The Wheel of Randomonium.
Wheel of randomonium. Love it.
All right, I'm sharing the wheel. Let's see here. Share screen.
All right. This is the part of the show where we pick our next show for next week, and we all give a nomination, and the wheel of randomonium selects for us.
That's what we're calling it. Ignore all markings to the contrary.
All right. So who's up with a nomination? Adam.
Anyone got a strong feeling?
I am not going to go first.
I'll
you
go
had some
first.
strong feelings pre-show.
Well, this is more in line with Jason's feelings. So I'm gonna let him.
Jason's?
Jason? I'm sorry, Tony. I'm dumb.
Tony,
my bad.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, before the call, I thought Watchmen on HBO. This would be my suggestion.
Ooh. That makes me excited. I'm rooting for your choice. Okay, I'm trying to think of. That's a long one though. It's not long. Like that's 40-minute episodes, right? And how many episodes per season?
I think I counted 9. I think
9.
I was looking earlier.
9 to 10 to 12 is like a standard HBO season, so that's a good choice. How do you feel? You know, I got mine. What's that Lovecraft show on HBO Max?
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's 2 on here, boys. 2 on the board.
I think I will offer up and maybe make this an HBO Max sweep. The HBO Max original, The Flight Attendant, with Kaylee Cuoco. I watched about the first episode and a half, and it was worth it. I thought so.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think I've seen positive views.
Operation Repo. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I've been struggling to find new shows, and Watchmen did spark my interest, so I think I'm going to double up on that. And just hope it gets picked.
So you're just not offering? You don't want to throw an anime? You don't.
There is an anime that caught my eye, but I haven't seen anything about it, so I'm afraid to offer it up because anime is one of those things that's on a spectrum, and it can be really good, but you can get some really weird ones in there. So I don't know.
But the season's already complete, or is it in the middle of it?
Is it Demon Slayer? Because I heard Demon Slayer the movie just dethroned Spirited Away as the most highest grossing anime movie of all time.
I watched that movie. It's fantastic.
That's what I've heard.
Did you surf the 7 seas or the high seas to watch the movie already?
No, someone was playing it on a Discord live stream, so I just hopped in. Cool. We had a little Discord watch party. It was good.
I do want to see that. I really enjoyed the first season. That one's That one's like a 25 episoder, though. I don't know if y'all want to do a 25 episode.
My wife and I are currently watching through Naruto, so like.
Oh wow!
Just a drop in the bucket.
No,
Drop in the bucket.
I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. Rage of Bahamut, Virgin Soul.
What? Okay, so Rage of Baphomet.
Nope. Bahamut. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. What's it on?
Amazon.
Amazon. Well, you gotta buy it, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you may need Prime, but that should be good enough.
If we have Prime, I think everybody needed Prime for Comrade Detective, so.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Spin to win, boys.
Looks like it's Lovecraft Country.
Ew.
All right, Lovecraft Country.
I've heard good things.
I've heard good things.
I can't wait to be preached to by Jordan. What's his name?
Is it a appeal? Oh,
yeah, it's appeal.
Sure.
Oh, I had a question. Is there any talk? Are they planning a second season or any future seasons of Comrade Detective or something similar?
I don't think so. I think that it was a one and done type event.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably for the best, but I was just wondering.
I mean, it came out 4 years ago, so probably not. But if there was, I'd watch it. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. See here.
I don't know why I had low expectations of Channing Tatum, but it made me respect him more somehow. It's not fair to him, but
I
was
can
like,
I just say,
I like Channing now.
Channing Tatum's like, if you go back, go watch like 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. They're funny. Like they're not great films, but they're funny. Like Channing Tatum is funny in them too.
I think those. I kind of mark those down as the last, especially with sequels. Like some of the last great like that style comedy movies that came out. Like they don't really make comedies like that anymore. That style.
I feel like movies are in a weird place right now. Like it's either you make like the next Marvel epic or nothing. Like I don't feel like there's been a lot of comedies in 2020. Now maybe nobody wanted to laugh, but can you think of any comedy movies that really were big in 2020?
Can't think of any movies in 2020, man.
I can't think of any recent comedy movies like that. I was just like laugh out loud. Like the 21, 22 Jump Street are the last ones where I was just like physically laughing in the theater watching them.
I feel like TV has and Netflix and Amazon has killed the movie industry even before COVID. Like I feel like it was COVID just accelerated.
It was already heading that way.
Yeah. Like honestly,
I feel bad for movie theaters, man.
Yeah, I feel like movie theaters are going to go the way of the drive-in movie theater. Like it's just going to be a novelty to go watch like the new Avengers 12.
It's a little expensive to be a novelty, you know.
That's the whole point. That's why it's expensive. That's why it's a novelty. Is because it's like going to be $50 to go to the movies.
What I mean like by that is like drive-in movie theaters are pretty cheap to set up. You just need a lot. And then a screen and a projector.
You gotta pay the rental fee for the movie.
Yeah,
that's
true.
And you pay most. I think you also have to pay a percentage of your
ticket. Running a movie theater is running a lot more. Like you gotta construct an entire building. You gotta have multiple.
Yes, you have to have a projector building,
like higher overheads, electricity, air conditioning, that kind of stuff.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it can follow that model of the drive-in movie theater. Which can I
want to say something, and honestly, I'm willing to respin the wheel if you guys feel necessary. Is it fair for me to have a movie on the wheel if my movie or my show was selected last, or should I be removed and then like whoever's show was picked last is removed, and it's the next 3 people who pick it each time? Is that I'm happy to respin it because I do feel like Comrade Detective was mine, Lovecraft Country is mine. It is chaos randomness, but I want to be fair to everyone. My inner equity is screaming right now. So, thoughts, feelings?
I mean, that is something that we had thrown out before, but never quite debated or agreed on. Anybody have strong feelings?
I'm okay with leaving it up to chance, personally, but that may
Yeah,
be
good
because
with
I've
chance.
dealt with a lot of chance in my life. So, it's
You-
a
you're-
roll, right?
It's
Leave it down to
random.
the dice roll.
It's not that anyone's being mistreated. It's just the winds. That's the way of the road, boy. Right?
Or maybe we'll
Exactly.
keep Lovecraft Country, and maybe if you get 2 in a row, then on the
third one you
one.
sit down. Okay, fair enough.
Maybe it's like
Would we-
getting out of jail.
Like a penalty box. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
You can't get a turkey. It's not allowed.
Capitalism.
That's not capitalism. That's regulation.
That's monopoly.
All right. I guess that is all we have to say about Comrade Detective. Make sure that you check back with our YouTube channel. What is that? Is it Mandamus Radio?
Yeah,
YouTube channel?
we're on YouTube under Mandamus Radio, where you can also find other fantastic podcasts. But you can also just find our podcast on several available podcatching apps like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, and Anchor. So be looking for new episodes, usually about once a month, and be looking for Lovecraft Country next month.
I'm excited. I've been wanting to watch this. So give me an excuse to watch something different.
I need to up
let's do it.
my HBO Max sub.
All right, so until next month, show so long.
Adios.
So long then. Bye.